This is the newsroom for today, Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. We're broadcasting to you on E1, SKAR TV, NTN, and TARZEE TV in Bartica. In the headlines, at the Gold graduation, VP Jagdeo announces a zero-interest development bank for SMEs and celebrates the nearly doubling of the scholarship target to 39,000. GCCI's President Cathy Smith urges fairer business practices and faster payments in oil and gas sector. Guyana takes major step in wildlife disease monitoring as One Health platform is handed over to GLDA for national rollout. And in sport, Coach Wayne Dover says Golden Jaguars to enter rebuilding phase after World Cup Qualifier exit, and West Indies head coach Darren Sammy not surprised by Nicholas Pooran's decision to quit international cricket. With the news, I am Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We start off by telling you that at the graduation ceremony for the Guyana Online Academy of Learning, that's the goal, on Tuesday, Vice President Dr. Jagdeo made an unplanned but welcomed appearance, using the opportunity to reaffirm the government's commitment to broad-based development and to announce a major initiative poised to stimulate local entrepreneurship, the establishment of a development bank offering zero-interest financing to small and medium-sized businesses. Jagdeo's message, though wide-ranging, was anchored in the vision of a rapidly modernizing Guyana, one where education, entrepreneurship, and equitable opportunity form the cornerstone of national growth. Addressing the graduates, he recalled the early ambitions of the Gold program, which initially promised 20,000 online scholarships. That target, he proudly stated, has already nearly doubled, with 39,000 scholarships awarded to date.
In the financial sector, we've already made it clear that we'll be a big focus in the next term would be financial literacy, financial empowerment, underwriting opportunities in the oil and gas sector and other sectors that would have a guarantee rate of return for small investors that's underwritten by the state, so we can democratize investments across the country. Huge opportunities in the financial sector. The digital society that we're moving towards, and there are tons of things being worked on now behind the scenes that would all come together. For example, digitization of the records at Home Affairs with all of the agencies, these cameras across the countries that would have facial recognition software, the traffic, getting the policemen off the road using technology to manage traffic. Why am I mentioning this? This would be a sector that would grow massively. So if you're trained, you have to think about opportunities that would open up in all of these sectors. Don't think about just coming to work for government too, because we'll be outsourcing a lot of these activities, like to create Guyanese companies, locally owned companies that can then supply the services to government.
Now, the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Anil Nandlal, has defended his role and clarified his relationship with the Guyana Elections Commission, GCOM, following claims that he's acting as the Commission's legal advisor. On Tuesday night, Nandlal responded to a letter sent by the AFC leader, Nigel Hughes, to GCOM. In the letter, Hughes reportedly objected to Nandlal's legal involvement in matters concerning the electoral body, claiming that the Attorney General is inappropriately offering legal advice to GCOM, a body meant to operate independently from the government.
We never accused the Attorney General then of becoming or of being the legal advisor of or to GCOM. The GCOM chair, acting on behalf of the Commission, wrote to the Attorney General, sought certain clarifications and his opinion on some of the recent amendments to the National Registration Act and the Representation of the People Act. And the Office of the Attorney General offered the opinion and the legal guidance. That is all that happened. So, Mr. Hughes, for your benefit, the Attorney General is not the legal advisor of GCOM, but offered his opinion as was requested, and has offered his legal opinion to many independent constitutional agencies and statutory agencies who have from time to time have sought legal guidance and legal opinions. That doesn't make the Attorney General the legal advisor of those agencies.
First Lady Arya Ali addressed the United Nations gathering on Tuesday, highlighting the strong support for persons with disabilities in Guyana. The First Lady spoke at the 18th session of the Conference of States Parties to the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. In her statement, the First Lady detailed the legislative and institutional measures in place to support this vulnerable group in Guyana.
Guyana has taken decisive steps to safeguard the rights of persons with disabilities. The Prevention of Discrimination Act and the Persons with Disabilities Act provide the legal foundation to prohibit discrimination in employment, mandate rehabilitation, ensure access to free education and healthcare, and promote participation in cultural and recreational life. The National Commission on Disability is the principal agency for the protection and promotion of these rights. Guyana's low-carbon development strategy reinforces this commitment, and our government backs this with practical support, which includes free healthcare and assistive devices, employment and housing opportunities, inclusion in the school system, and lifelong public assistance for everyone with permanent disabilities. A disability support unit was created to ensure inclusion and no discrimination. Under our One Guyana initiative, youth with disabilities are provided with the tools and resources to pursue economic opportunities. We recently launched the Center for Equity, Opportunity and Innovation that currently employs scores of persons with disabilities and provide technical, vocational, and business development training. The combined efforts of the Mahika Learning Lab, the Board of Industrial Training, the Center for Equity, Opportunity and Innovation, and the Open Doors Vocational Center offers free skills training for persons with disabilities. Guyana is home to the Regional Disability Diagnostic and Treatment Center, which offers early diagnoses for children with disabilities. In the last few years, hundreds of persons with disabilities have received house lots from the government, while the President's Men on a Mission program has built homes and provided construction materials for persons with disabilities. Chair, a society is judged by how it treats its most vulnerable. Guyana is proud of our efforts, as we believe that the most effective way to give true meaning to the convention is through education, empowerment, and engagement.
Now, Kathy Smith, president of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the GCCI, has issued a strong call for more equitable business practices and faster payments within Guyana's growing oil and gas industry. Speaking during a recent interview with the newsroom, Smith emphasized the Chamber's ongoing push to support local businesses and ensure fair competition in the country.
One of the biggest things right now for us is to ensure that local businesses are given the opportunity, they are supported, and they're respected in doing business in Guyana. And that was the reason why the GCCI started a conversation for local content. And of course, we know that was legislated a few years back. So I want to continue to push on that, because we are still seeing some gray areas in the local content legislation. Well, not in legislation per se, how some businesses are interpreting the legislation and using it. We are still finding areas where large companies are trying to compete aggressively against small businesses by setting up small companies under the companies so that they can compete against small businesses. We are still seeing where there are unfair practices by some international companies where they're setting up partnership with local companies but forcing them to purchase only from the parent company, the international parent company. Some of them are still there. They're pulling the revenue out of the local company through sales of material or expertise that they're bringing, equipment that they're bringing, capacity area that we as local don't have and they're bringing it. The revenue cost for that is quite high. So sometime at the end of the business calendar, the local business doesn't have much for distribution.
For the year 2025, about $500 million is being spent to ensure that residents in Region 1, Burima-Waini, have access to potable water. Currently, several wells are being drilled while others are recently completed and distribution is ongoing. Within the next few months, the aim, Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell said, is for Region 1 to have 97% access to potable water.
Region 1, for this year alone, we are spending about just under $500 million for expansion for water delivery in this region. Just under $500 million. Region 1, in 2022 show, access to potable water by citizens was 38%. 38%. The overall for the region, all the hinterland regions, when you take into consideration regions 1, 7, 8, 9, riverine, was close to 50%, just under 50%. That is what we took over. And we have worked continuously, diligently, and I want to commend the hinterland director, Jailal, and his team, and all across all the hinterland regions, working continuously so we can keep being able to be successful, because Mabruma itself in the front, the central location, is a difficult terrain. And then you go communities like St. Anselm and the others, the water salt. We drilled successful, very successful well, producing. But what? It's salty. That's why when Chairman and use the term here, your water sweet. It ain't got even no iron taste, none. Very pure. And so drilling of wells is like mining. But we have committed, because you are the fundamental right for every citizen is to have access to potable water. It's a fundamental right. As I speak, I give you the starting point 4 years ago. As I speak, access to potable water in Region 1 is about 87%. Before this year is finished with before the next couple months are finished, because we have a number of wells that's complete, but we're doing the distribution network between Morocco here and Mabruma. Before the next couple months are finished, we will be somewhere about 95% in Region 1. But we are not stopping there. Tushao said to you, he heard the NTC and he heard the presentation. We will continue to keep drilling and expanding services to every community until everyone is served.
Still to come, the AG Nandlal slams legal bid to alter Guyana's electoral laws as baseless, accusing presidential hopeful of pushing personal agenda. Stay tuned.
is the interconnection between the health of people, animals, and ecosystems. Speaking at the handover ceremony, FAO Assistant Country Representative Gitanjali Chandrapal said the event represents a shift from project-based implementation to national stewardship and long-term sustainability.
Guyana is one of the most biologically diverse countries in the world. Wildlife plays a central role in food security, livelihoods, and cultures of indigenous and rural communities. However, this relationship also carries health risks, especially when wild meat and wildlife trade are not accompanied by appropriate surveillance, regulation, or food safety practices. The COVID-19 pandemic gave the world a painful reminder of how zoonotic diseases, those that pass from animals to humans, can have devastating global impacts.
A key achievement of the program was the creation of a multi-sectoral platform that brings together government agencies, technical partners, and wildlife users to share information and guide actions related to zoonotic disease risk.
Today's event is a celebration of partnership, progress, and shared purpose. What began as an initiative under the Sustainable Wildlife Management Program has grown into a dynamic platform that brings together professionals across discipline, from public health to agriculture, conservation to academia, and from national authorities to indigenous communities. This platform was developed through the vision and collaboration of many, supported by the African, Caribbean, and Pacific Secretariat and funded by the European Union. It emerged in response to the growing global concerns about risks posed by zoonotic diseases, particularly those originating in wildlife. And as we know, Guyana is rich in diverse wildlife population.
The official handover of the program signifies national responsibility and proactive management of zoonotic disease risk in Guyana, with the GLDA now taking the lead in overseeing and expanding the platform's activities for the benefits of public health, wildlife conservation, and sustainable development. For Newsroom, Isanala Patwa.
Attorney General Anil Nandlal has rejected a recent legal challenge seeking to invalidate sections of Guyana's electoral framework as baseless and ill-conceived, accusing the presidential hopeful behind the move of attempting to rewrite the constitution to suit personal ambition. Speaking during his Issues in the News program on Tuesday night, Nandlal revealed that 2 actions have been filed in the High Court by surrogates of an individual aspiring to contest the 2025 general and regional elections as an independent presidential candidate. The suits reportedly seek to nullify parts of the constitutionality of Guyana's electoral system, specifically its requirements for a candidate to be part of a list in order to contest. According to Nandlal, the litigant's position is based on the belief that unless he submits a candidate list through the Guyana Elections Commission GCOM, he would be barred from running.
And during the first past the post system, and when we had that system, there's a different system. That's where you have a constituency identified, which is a geographic area, and you have a candidate, a singular person who is contesting that. And he can contest on a list if he wishes, or he can contest by himself. That system, the people said that they want to change, and in 1964 they changed it, and they introduced a proportional representation system, and we have had that since, and we have gone through many modifications of it. The last modification came in the 1999-2001 electoral constitutional reform process, where the people were widely consulted. And they made alterations to the PR system. But they kept the PR system, but they made many alterations. And those of us who are aware of the historical evolution of our constitution and the electoral system would know of the manifold changes that were made. But they kept in the main the basic structure of the PR system. So it's not that the people didn't change the system, the PR, they altered it, but they altered it exactly how they wanted to alter it. And that is what is set out in 160 of the Constitution. That you can go to the elections, individuals can contest, but you must be part of a list. And the list is what the voters will vote for. And the head of that list that receives the most votes shall be deemed the president. The presidential candidate of the list that receives the most votes at that election shall be deemed to be the president. That is the system we have. Every country has its own system.
As efforts to expand the country's export market continue, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa says collaborations with Massey Distribution Inc. and Bloomberg are underway. This week, Massey Distribution Inc. placed pepper jelly on its shelves, a move that signifies a growing partnership between the company and local food producers. Mustafa, during his remarks, said that the country's goal of achieving food security by 25% by 2030 is being supported by crucial partnerships.
And we are looking to replicate that across the Caribbean, where Massey supermarket can sell Guyanese product in places in another part of the Caribbean, Barbados, Trinidad, and things like that. We have also started a few days back. We were in Region 5, His Excellency, and we were looking at the prawns project. And there we have started the production of prawns. I know for a fact that the prawns project have been engaging Massey's attention. They have already visited that project, and I am hoping that our prawns, the Vanamee prawns, first of its kind in the Caribbean, can also be sold across the region. So these are things that we never did before, and we are doing it now. That makes us a country where we want to ensure that we be that, we want to realize our full potential to once again be that breadbasket of the Caribbean. We are now building a food hub. Very shortly, we will sign an MOU with Bloomberg Grain, where we'll build that food hub so that we can export a number of commodities across the various Caribbean countries so that we can reduce that food import bill. So by increasing visibility in a regional supermarket like Massey, we gain direct access to consistent and sustainable demand, which foster greater economic stability and reduce our dependence on unpredictable local market fluctuation.
Now, play has a critical role in the overall development of children, and the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, in collaboration with international partners, is working to ensure safe spaces are available in Guyana. The second annual International Day of Play under the theme, Choose Play Every Day, was observed on Wednesday, with focus on tackling the deprivation of children from participating in playing, a challenge brought on by displacement, climate challenges, violence, and other vulnerabilities. Human Services and Social Security Minister Dr. Vindhya Prasad, during remarks at the unique Play School Perfect Harmony, said Guyana has officially adopted the United Nations Children's Fund Child-Friendly Cities Initiative to support the development and well-being of children in urban and riverine communities.
This began in conversation with UNICEF, and it is something I really would like to see Guyana pilot and have as part of its makeup. And it simply means whenever we create a community, whenever we develop a community, whenever we are part of any project that has to do with children, we're actually thinking about children.
Too often, play is seen as just a break from other important matters and serious activities. But as the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child affirms, play is not a luxury, it is a right. And more than that, it's a powerful driver of growth and well-being.
Just like they have the right to be safe, to go to school, and to be cared for, they also have the right to play. And that's a right that is worth celebrating. As the United Nations Children's Fund, we work to make sure that every child gets to enjoy all of their rights, including the right to play. Because, you've heard a lot about this already, play helps the children to grow, to learn, and to build relationships.
When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather, and bread reports along with sport. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting off with some football news. Guyana's Golden Jaguars ended their 2026 World Cup qualifying campaign with a 3-0 success over Montserrat in Group D action at the National Track and Field Centre on Tuesday night. First half goals from Nathan Ferguson in the 35th minute and Osase de Rosario in the 38th, and a second half strike from prolific striker Omari Glasgow in the 72nd sealed the deal for Guyana. Despite the win, the Jaguars will not advance to the next round of World Cup qualification as they finished third in the group. Only the top two teams, Panama and Nicaragua, will advance. Guyana had 2 victories against Belize and Montserrat and lost to Panama and Nicaragua in the second round of qualification. In case you missed it, here are the goals that were scored in the first half. And following Guyana's exit from the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers, coach Wayne Dover said that the focus now is on the rebuilding process. The Golden Jaguars ended their qualifying campaign with a 3-0 win over Montserrat on Tuesday evening, a game of academic interest for both sides after they failed to finish in the top 2 of Group D. Dover, speaking at a post-match media engagement, reflected on the campaign and the next steps for the senior national men's team program. First half goals from Nathan Ferguson in the 35th and Osase de Rosario in the 38th, and a second half strike from the prolific Omari Glasgow in the 72nd sealed the deal for Guyana. Despite the win, the Jaguars will not advance to the next round of World Cup qualification as they finished third in the group. Only the top 2 teams, Panama and Nicaragua, will advance. Reflecting on the final match at home, Dover said it was pleasing to end the campaign with a win.
We all prepare our mind and focus to come and get this result so that we could end on a high note. Kind of pleased that we get this results. We start a little bit shaky, but eventually we get into the game and take control. So I'm very pleased with the performance tonight and the fact that we keep a clean sheet.
Guyana had 2 victories against Belize and Montserrat and lost to Panama and Nicaragua in the second round of qualification. Given the result on Tuesday, a draw or a victory against Nicaragua, then they would have remained alive in the qualifiers.
Oh yeah, that was heartbreaking because we lost the game 1-0. We knew that we don't have a chance to go forward, and it gives us a bad feelings at the end of that whole 90 minutes. But we all know that we have to come back to Guyana and end the season with a good results, particularly for the fans and the GFF, who has made huge investments, and the extended people in the nation.
Like Dover, skipper Nathan Moriah Welsh was also elated with the result to close the campaign on a high.
I think it's just a positive to end on a good note after all the hard work for the last 2-3 years. Obviously the performance last game wasn't up to standard, but in the end just good to finish on 3 points and 3 good goals.
Looking ahead, the ultimate focus now switches to the 2030 World Cup and Guyana qualifying for that global stage for the first time. The rebuilding process, according to Dover, will now be activated.
We saw a very good blend of young players, and we want to focus now on our rebuilding process, the fact that we don't have any more football to play for the rest of the year, and we got to set ourselves targets. We give ourselves at least 2 years to rebuild this team and then aim to qualify for the Gold Cup, and we move step by step: Gold Cup, Nation League, A-League, and then World Cup.
The next World Cup in 2026 will be hosted by the Confederation of North, Central America and Caribbean Association Football, that's the CONCACAF region, and will be the largest ever, featuring 48 nations and 80 matches over a 34-day period. By virtue of being the host countries, the USA, Canada and Mexico will gain automatic qualification, leaving the door ajar for 3 other nations from the Confederation. This is the largest number of qualifying spots ever available to the Confederation. Previously, CONCACAF had 3.5 qualifying spots, the half being for a continental playoff. Reporting for Newsroom, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Cricket news now. Guyanese middle-order batsman Kevlin Anderson has been rewarded for consistent domestic form, earning a maiden test call-up for West Indies against Australia in June. The white ball opener Brandon King also gets a first-time test call-up, while wicketkeeper batsman Shea Hope, middle-order batsman Casey Carty and opener John Campbell make a return. With captain Roston Chase and his deputy Jamil Warrican handling the spin duties, left-arm spinner Gudakesh Moti misses out, so too wicketkeeper Joshua De Silva, who was one of the captaincy candidates just recently. The West Indies test squad for the series against Australia reads Roston Chase captain, Jamil Warrican vice-captain, Kevlin Anderson, Craig Brathwaite, John Campbell, Casey Carty, Justin Greaves, Shea Hope, Devin Imlach, Alzari Joseph, Shamar Joseph, Brandon King, Johan Lane, Mikel Louis, Anderson Phillip and Jaden Seals. West Indies and Australia will clash in 3 test matches, June 25th to the 29th in Barbados, July 3rd to the 7th in Grenada, and then a day-night game in Jamaica from July 12th to the 16th. West Indies head coach Darren Sammy said he's not surprised by Nicholas Pooran's decision to retire from international cricket at 29. Pooran called time on his international career this week, saying the decision came after much thought and reflection. The announcement shocked the region, especially with the next World T20 just months away. The left-hander, one of the most sought-after player on the global T20 circuit, ended as the most capped West Indian in T20 internationals with 106 matches and a leading run scorer with 2,275. Sammy, responding to questions on his sudden retirement, boldly predicted that more West Indian players will follow the path of Pooran.
Surprise? No, I'm not surprised. It's a personal choice. So yes, I mean, I was hoping that it didn't happen, but in my mind I was already planning that we may have a T20 team without Pooran. I'm pretty sure more will follow in that mood, in that direction. I would not be surprised. That's the way T20 cricket is now, and especially coming from the West Indies, the challenges that we face, trying to keep our players, motivated to play for the crest. So I wouldn't be surprised. A few guys, we saw everybody talk about Henry Claassen, Quintin de Kock, all these guys who've retired. It's out of our control. I don't think I'm in a position to say he chose franchise. I think Nicholas Pooran is a professional with a responsibility to himself, to his family, to the people he represents. Like I said, ideally a talent like that, I would love to have him in the team, but I don't control, nor could I control anybody's careers. I have a job to select from performance, from promise, from all these things. And Nicholas, he'll be missed, but it's not a decision that I had control over. We had a couple conversations. I wished him well. He wished the team well, and again, he's trying to move on now from planning a game plan without Nicholas Pooran, and with a World Cup coming ahead. I think what I could say, I respect the fact that he told us early enough so we have more time to plan without him.
And following the West Indies 3-0 series defeat against England in the T20s, West Indies coach Darren Sammy said it is important the bowling unit gets it right in order to turn around the Caribbean side's fortunes ahead of next year's World T20. In the 2 times they bowled first, West Indies conceded 188 for 6 and 248 for 3, and then England chased down a target of 197 in the other match. It is the West Indies' 4th consecutive T20 series defeat, following losses to Bangladesh and England in the Caribbean and host Sri Lanka over the last 8 months.
How do I turn it around? I think it's a question of skills. When being put under pressure, do we have the skill set to be disciplined with our plans? Do we back our ability long enough? Something, especially from a bowling point of view. We've been trying to search, how do we restrict teams when they put us under the pump? They might have patches where, a the batting team gets the better of you, but the ability to pull it back. We've seen England do it when we put them under pressure, the ability to go to a plan and get results. And to me, that's the most worrying thing. And I look at my team and I say, I got the best players from the Caribbean here. You know, so it's a conversation with a World Cup less than 8 months, I think. How do we get our bowling right? Because I think the batting will be more consistent. They have been over the last 2 years, but we can't keep asking our bowlers our batters to chase down two high 200s, and then when we set 190 or 200, our bowling yet to defend it. So, but I'm a very positive guy, and I believe in between now, you guys go to Ireland, and then we have I think 5 against Australia, 3 against Pakistan at home, and 3 against Bangladesh, and 3 against New Zealand. So we have enough time and games to put a combination together that could help us be successful.
Now, Australia's bowlers fought back after they were bowled out for a modest total by South Africa as 14 wickets fell on an engrossing first day of the World Test Championship final. Proteas quick Kagiso Rabada claimed 5 for 51 and Marco Jansen 3 for 49 as the Aussies were dismissed for 212 shortly after the tea interval. Steve Smith with 66 and Bew Webster, who made 72, had rescued Australia from the precarious lunchtime position of 67 for 4 with a 79-run stand for the 5th wicket. But Australia's last 5 wickets went down for a paltry 18 runs as Rabada spearheaded South Africa's pace attack with discipline and skill. Left with the best part of the evening session to bat, the South Africans wilted in the face of an Aussies barrage. Left-arm quick Mitchell Starc charged in to remove openers Aidan Markram and Ryan Rickleton cheaply. Markram departed for a duck, undone by an in-swinging Yorker, while Rickleton tentatively edged to Usman Khawaja in the slips. Australian captain Pat Cummins then bowled Wyan Mulder through the gate before Josh Hazlewood snuck one past the defence of Tristan Stubbs. Temba Bavuma and David Benningham will resume on day 2 for the Proteas. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, newsroom.gy, and all social media platforms. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.